Hi, this is Susan, and this is Susan's Ramblings. I have a story to tell you today. It'll be a little longer than what usually is. Anyway, when I first got divorced, I walked out of my marriage with my clothes, only the clothes on my back, literally. And I won't go into the abuse and so forth my husband made us all go through. Anyway, one day, we had one potato in my house, and my son said, "Mom, we only got one potato left. What are we going to do?" And I said, "Well, you're going to eat breakfast. I had enough for breakfast." I said, "You're going to eat your breakfast, and you're going to go to school, and you're going to eat lunch at school, and I am going to go to work. And when we come back from work, we will go up and see your grandparents." And I knew it was not for money, but they had a huge garden, and I knew we could get all kinds of produce from them. Might not be what we wanted to eat, but we would survive. Anyway, I went to work. He went to school, I went to work. Got home, and he met me at the door, and he says, "Why'd you go see Grandma and Grandpa without me?" And I looked at him kind of funny, and I said, "What are you talking about?" Well, he says, "We got all kinds of vegetables on the table." And I said, "Well, Grandma, I didn't go. I worked. I just came home from work. I don't know where the vegetables came from." But anyway, we put them all together. And I looked at him, and I said, "I think your grandpa's dropped them off here." And he looked at me kind of funny and says, "Okay." By that time, he wasn't believing anything, but he knew we had just the one potato. So anyway, we got the vegetables all put away. There was a knock on the door. It was a friend of mine. And he said, "We just butchered a cow." And I just picked it up. "Would you like some meat?" And I said, "I'd love some." Well, he said, "Come and pick it out." I said, "No, I'm not going to pick it out. You pick out what you want to give us." He did. There were packages of roast, hamburger, steak, almost any kind of meat you would get from a cow. And I mean, it was huge. So we put that all away. And then there was another knock on the door. It was my dad. And he said, "Did you find my vegetables?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Did you go fishing?" And he was in one town about 10 miles from us. And then when you went another 10 miles from where we were, there was lakes. And he'd go fishing. And he says, "Yeah, I fish." And he says, "I got 2 great big fish." But he says, "I don't want to take them home. We got enough fish in the freezer. And your mom would probably have a fit if I come home with those 2 big fish. You want them?" "Yeah." So he helped us clean them, got them all cut up, put away. And by that time, it was pretty close to supper. So I said, "Okay, Michael, what do you want for supper?" And he looked at me and he says, "Steak. I want steak." So, okay, we had steak for supper. That's some of those vegetables. So we went from one potato in the morning to steak at night to eat. Plus our freezer was full. Our refrigerator was full. Don't tell me God doesn't work, because he sure does. He works miracles at times. And I honestly didn't know how we were going to make it with just one potato. Have a great day. God bless.